Source: Reincarnated as a sword. Welcome back to AniRecapz. Like and subscribe so you never miss our quality uploads. It's a dark night, the moon shines bright on the road, and there seems to be a man who gets run over by Recap-kun, meeting his unfortunate end of life. We then transition into another world where we see dragon-like creatures flying in the open blue sky. The MC who earlier died seems to have reincarnated into isekai world, not as a cute girl but rather as a sword. The sword and the cat girl travels somewhere. MC then narrates how he got that cute cat girl as his wielder. She glances at MC with her beautiful and shiny blue eyes. Her black hair is all over her pink cheeks. According to MC, their meeting was a miracle. Then we go into a flashback after when he died. He woke up looking at 6 different colored moons. He is confused thinking about where he is, but then quickly realizes that he has been transported to another world. He was shocked to learn that he got reincarnated as a sword. Just then Jesus speaks and addresses the sword and if he has awoken. MC questions in panic who was that. But the voice of Jesus instead replies, "He's in for a rough ride. Best of luck then, bye." MC was baffled and just like that, the voice disappeared with a gust of wind. MC thinks that the voice was too clear to be a hallucination. He then gazes into the blue night sky and thinks, since he is incarnated as a sword and this is an isekai story, he must have some sort of cheat-level Kirito powers. He then focuses to open his stats. Right then, a page shows up with information. It shows that he is an intelligent weapon, and his skills include telekinesis, plus regeneration, and identify is at level 6. MC then judges himself like a legendary sword. Just then, a horde of goblins surround him and start to harass him by trying to pull him out. MC doesn't like this. They bang him with stones and also spit on him, which angers him a lot, so he uses his telekinesis to fly up and instantly destroys them by stabbing and killing those brutality. MC expected himself to feel guilty, however, he doesn't feel so. After each kill, MC glows and gains a sense of satisfaction. His guess is that it is because he was filling his duty as a blade. After defeating them all, he checks his stats only to see some new things popping up. It shows that he has 3 crystals out of 100. There is another new stat, skill slots. MC notices that he has new skills on his list. This indicates that he absorbed the skills of the goblins. A voice announces saying he has 10 skill slots available, which surprised him again. He equips all the skills he acquired from the goblins. While poking around the corpse of goblins, he struck another crystal. When he glows, he feels like his stomach fills with his favorite food, making him feel satisfied. He gains 2 new skills, and so MC notes that breaking crystals actually absorbs the enemy's skills. The sword used his newly acquired skill digging to bury the corpses. He perches himself on the rock that he spawned in and thinks how sad it is to be a sword without a wielder. His new goal is to acquire new skills to become stronger for the person who will someday wield him. We transition to another site in the same continent and we see a cat girl. She seems to be part of some labor work. A big burly man orders someone carrying logs around. The cat girl standing in the back in tattered clothes with handcuffs and scruffy hair says she wishes to be strong. Just then, a soldier-looking guy throws a stone at her and calls her off for slacking. He calls her Black Cat Weakling and walks away. The girl then gets up with blood flowing down her face. She opens her hand towards the sky, wishing for power. We then transition back to our MC. He's flying through the sky, however using telekinesis costs mana, so he can only fly for approximately 3 minutes. He spots a creature with tentacles and charges toward it. However, the tentacles of that creature grabs him and starts to absorb his mana. Driven to acquire that skill, MC slashes through the tentacles and kills it. He gets the mana drain skill. He also acquired another skill called float. This allows him to fly for 5 times longer. Using his skills, he creates a new move that decimates a giant centipede-type creature. Just then, the announcer's voice informs him that his abilities have evolved, and he has acquired 10 new evolution points. He then uses those points to increase his mana and attack stats. He then felt a sense of accomplishment. However, the exultant feeling wears off. He's feeling lonely again and asks the system gal to talk to him. Later, he seems to have found a goblin's nest. He slashes through them all, acquiring their crystals and becoming more powerful. He used the stealth skill and snuck up on the main area of the goblins, where the Goblin King was sitting. Using his telekinetic catapult attack, he blows off the head of the Goblin King and slices through the Goblin Mage. He has finally acquired magic. After killing the rest, he finally gets his sword mastery to level 3, which is OP. This means that whenever he absorbs crystals for skills, those skills can also level up. This indicates of his future wielder to be automatically become a master swordsman. We then cut back to her side. A slave seems to be getting beaten up. However, our cat girl bravely interferes and gets in the way of the big burly man. Although the man just preaches the word down, which causes the collar on her neck forces her to get down. He tells her that there won't be any dinner for her today. In the morning, they seem to be loading some boxes into carts, and the big man again insults them by calling them useless beasts who can't evolve. Our enraged cat girl grabs a rock and fearlessly charges at the man, but before she can strike him again, she got bowed down with the slave collar power. The man insults her again. The cart then moves through the forest, with the cargo and slaves loaded in. She now has even more fiery motivation to get stronger. Back to our MC, he moves outside of that area. Since now all his stats are upgraded, he decides to venture outside. He flies over the forest, but does not find any tough monsters, so he takes a break and wedges himself into the ground. But when he tries to use his telekinesis ability to fly again, he starts glowing toward the ground. His mana got absorbed. He tries various other skills to escape, but they all just drain his mana to no success. 3 days passed, but his mana doesn't regenerate. MC then fantasizes about a gorgeous elven hunter to stumble upon him and wield him. 10 more days have passed, and his standards now have dropped lower. He'll take anyone to wield him, even a kobold or a zombie would be fine, he says in a panic. A month passes, and he's desperate for anyone to pick him up and yells about his great abilities, hoping to attract someone. He shouts about how he knows how to cook, which maxed out that skill. The system voice announces that his cooking skill reached level 10, unlocking extra sub-bonuses for cooking. He continues shouting about more skills, and they all automatically level up to 10, and MC doesn't even seem to realize that it is happening by itself. As the clouds gather, it starts to rain, leaving MC in a hopeless state, ready to beg. Meanwhile, in the same forest, our main girl's cart is getting chased by a giant bear. The bear destroys the cart with ease, scattering everyone around. The jerks run away immediately after demanding the slaves to stay put and become snacks for the bear to buy them time. Our main girl is stuck by fear, unable to move due to the slave collar's power. Ironically, one of the jerks gets killed by the bear, which releases the slave collar's power. Then all the slaves run away, pushing our main girl to fall into the ground. As the bear charges towards her, she bravely holds a stick with great courage and hits the bear. But that didn't do anything. The bear then smacks her, along with others, into the air. She then suddenly hears MC's voice, telling her to use him. Remembering her determination to be strong and setting aside her fear, she looks to her side and notices a glorious sword. This is that faithful meeting. She then grabs MC and can now hear him talking. She was shocked by this. When she tries to lift him out, she says how she isn't that strong enough. The bear yet again charges toward her with a bloodthirsty look. In the last second though, she manages to get the tip out and MC immediately jumps away, saving our cute cat girl. Her first observation is that the sword is pretty. MC thanks her and asks her to equip the sword. She does so and acquires all of the sword's crazy skills and level ups. With the MC's guidance, she finally defeats the bear. Just then, one of the surviving slave owners walks in and looks down on her. Our cat girl tells MC how the collar is the only thing stopping her from killing him. He freezes her and demands the sword. He states that she can't do anything until the collar is on her neck and the slave contract is active. MC then uses telekinesis ability to instantly kill that guy and burns the contract. Her slave collar and handcuffs breaks and falls to the ground. She thanks him for helping him with a warm smile. MC wants her to become his wielder, but thinks that she wouldn't be willing for it. To his surprise, she wants to despite several warnings of danger. She's determined to be strong. She states that no black cat has ever evolved, and she wishes to do that. We get to know that her parents also tried to evolve but failed. MC promises her that he'll train her to make her stronger. We finally get to know our cat girl's name, Fran. She is glad to finally be called by her name. MC can't seem to remember his name, so Fran gives him the name Teacher. MC is not happy with it but tells her it's perfect, due to her cuteness. The reasoning behind this name is that MC is going to teach her how to be strong, hence the name. She then smiles wholesomely, and that is how both of their journeys started. MC gives a narration about Fran's background and her desire to evolve, even though those of the Black Cat tribe have never been able to evolve. After finishing a pack of goblins off, Fran uses water magic to clean herself off and then MC of the goblin bloodstains. Fran then hears something and rushes to the scene despite MC's plea to learn what the problem is. Skipping over to a merchant wagon surrounded by a large group of goblins, an adventurer named Randell struggles to protect the wagon with the merchant inside it. Arriving at the scene, Fran briskly eliminates the goblins as the lead goblin flees. Thankful for Fran's help, Randell asks if she'd like a ride to Alessa. MC considers the offer a way for Fran to help him protect the wagon until they reach the destination. However, beyond that, he believes Randell to be a good guy overall and has Fran accept the offer. En route to their destination, Randell explains to Fran the rise in monster encounters within the Great Wolf Plain. Apparently, a turf war occurred there, causing weaker monsters like goblins to take refuge by busy roads. Hearing this makes MC conclude that his antics within the area caused recent trouble. Fran then asks if Randell knows about a plain sword implanted within the area. However, Randell does not, much to MC's dismay. Randell then asks if Fran is a G-ranked adventurer, which perplexes her and MC. Hence, Randell explains the monster ranking system to her and those who hunt monsters adventurers. An explanation of adventurers is then given by Randell, who names a couple of famous ones. Desiring to become an adventurer herself, Randell explains that Fran will have to register at the Adventurers Guild, where she can sell her monster materials. Elsewhere, the goblin leader that fled after Fran's arrival returns to its base, where a goblin shaman summons various species of goblins and, in the process, starts to mutate. Back to Fran's side, the wagon arrives in Alessa. And as Fran heads to the Adventurers Guild, MC uses Identify on the weapons used by adventurers. To his astonishment, all the weapons were much stronger than he was, and becomes morose. Fran then cheers MC up by praising him, which lightens up his spirits, and they continue forward to the Adventurers Guild. At the guild, the receptionist Nell struggles to keep up the facade of a smiling receptionist while dealing with the boorish behavior of the adventurers there. Fran then approaches Nell and asks to register as an adventurer. Internally, Nell believes Fran to be unfit to be an adventurer, but still allows her to take the mock fight exam. Led to an arena where the examiner Donadron introduces himself to Fran with a loud, boisterous voice while using his intimidation skill. Casting Identify on Donadrund, MC is shocked by how strong Donadrund is as the ogre prepares himself for the fight ahead. At the start of the fight, Fran has trouble defending herself against Donadrund's attacks. MC then casts support buffs on her, which makes her STR, and so is the AGL to temporarily increase. With the buffs and the combination of earth and fire magic, Fran finishes the fight off with a Dragon Fang attack. By defeating Donadrund, Fran passes the exam. Afterward, Fran, accompanied by Donadrund, meets with the guild master Klimt in his office. Klimt tries to learn from Fran, where she learned her sword skills and spells, but following MC's advice, refuses to answer. Understanding, Klimt tries to use Indent V on Fran, however it's negated due to MC's Identify protection. Curious to know if she failed, Klimt assures Fran that she has passed as the spirits are calm. MC then casts Identify on Klimt and learns his impressive stats and skills. Just then, Nell enters the room and informs him that everything is in order, and Klimt allows Fran to be issued her guild card. In a room where stone-carved faces make up the wall, A large crystal sits upon a pedestal in the center of the room. Fran records her mana signature on the crystal and then chooses her class as Spells Word. Once that is settled, Nell hands Fran her guild card, and back at the receptionist's desk, Fran then decides to turn in some of her monster materials to earn herself a little profit, but she got 195,000 gold instead. As Fran tries to leave, a quartet of adventurers stops them and tries to extort money from our cute cat girl. As it was getting heated, Nell intervenes and disparages the group. One of the members tries to attack Nell, but Fran saves her. MC suggests they should take the fight outside. However, the adventurers blocks the way. One of them acts racist and calls her out for being lowly black cat, which triggers her. She then slices off the adventurer's feet and takes out the remaining adventurers with oscillation. Once that was done with, Fran leaves the guild, but just then we see a dwarf who uses God's sight on MC. He comes out following them and deduces that he's an intelligence weapon. As MC, along with our cute cat girl on her back, goes to explore the stalls around Alessa, seeking equipment, they suddenly gets approached by Garrus. He suggests they should visit his shop for some. MC casts Identify on him, only to learn his name, stats, and skills, which were impressive. Following MC's advice, Fran is guided by Garrus to his shop. On their way to the shop, two men chastise Fran and Envy for being allowed to do business with Garrus, but he reveals they plan to resell his gear and refuses to do business with such men. A curious Fran then asks Garrus why he'd refuse to do business with the two scornful men and yet do it with her. Garrus then claims he was impressed with how she handled the men in the guild and would happily conduct business with her. In Garrus' shop, Fran tries on the equipment that Garrus offers her, and MC was impressed by their stats, boosts, and skills. Despite his continuous self-consciousness over how the swords in the city are more robust than he is, MC suggests that they investigate what swords the shop has to offer. Surprised that Fran would want to see his swords, Garrus then reveals that he knows MC is actually an intelligent weapon. Alerted by this, Fran takes a sidestep backward as MC tries to deduce how Garrus was privy to his identity. Garrus then laughs and reveals that he has an extra skill called God Eyes that allows him to see past identity protection. Using his God Eyes again, Garrus appraises MC and notes that his skills are far more impressive than the others he's seen, which causes MC to blurt something out telepathically. Garrus picks up on this, and MC scornfully curses, but Garrus assures MC that he merely wishes to have a chat as an intrigued blacksmith. He then mentions that after seeing what MC was, Garrus notes that Fran doesn't have to have another sword. However, MC points out that one of Garrus' swords is actually stronger than him, as they had higher stats than MC. To that point, Garrus notes that although it has higher attack power than MC's, he then mentions that MC probably doesn't know about mana conductivity. To demonstrate the difference between the two, Garrus retrieves the sword with 450 attack from the wall and asks that Fran with 450 endow him with 100 mana points and attack the sword. Fran does so, and the 450 attack stats sword breaks with a single swipe. Garrus then reveals that MC's mana conductivity was A-class, meaning he has 200% mana efficiency and should be able to charge up to 1,000 mana without any trouble. MC deduces that his attack power would be over 2,000 if he uses a max of 1,000 mana. Garrus then praises him as one of the most impressive enchanted swords. Hearing this causes both Fran and MC to have a bonding moment that irks Garrus, who then inquires who originally forged MC. However, MC has no clue who may have forged him and asks if Garrus Godeye could find that out for him, since he is curious about it too. On the other hand, Garrus details that someone of Garrus' smithing capability couldn't forge him. However, he notes that perhaps a godsmith could. Garrus then details the history of a godsmith and how they can forge swords called divine swords. MC is actually not one of them. Furthermore, Garrus explains that the only divine sword he's ever seen was called Agnes. Thankful for what Garrus has told him thus far, MC requests that Garrus create a sheath for him with the monster material he's collected. Unloading his collection of monster material onto the flustered Garrus, he informs MC that the material provided come from D to C-ranked monsters and offers to create it for free. Told by Garrus that it'll take 3 days for the sheath and a month for him to complete the armor, Fran and MC leave Garrus' shop. While walking the streets of Alessa, MC asks if Fran needs panties, to which she informs him that they're unnecessary. A lady admonishes that notion and insists they visit her shop. Inside the place, the shopkeeper shows Fran an assortment of panties to choose from as well as dresses.
フランちゃん、可愛いから何でも似合うわ。
そうそう、フランは元がいいからね。
Following the advice of the shopkeeper, Fran and MC head to the general store owned by a towering man called Rufus. After MC uses Identify on him, it's then learned that his STR is 150. So Fran asks him if he's an adventurer, whereas Rufus claims he retired and opened up the shop 3 years ago that they're in now. Fran then purchases a bunch of cooking supplies from the shop, and after they find an inn to stay at for the night, MC makes fried chicken for Fran. Once Fran finished her dinner and was dressed in her pajamas, MC allocated his EP to healing magic before they went to bed, to be better prepared for the battles ahead of them. Unknown to them, a horde of goblins emerge from a cave. The following day, Fran and MC find some hellgrass in a local forest, used as an ingredient in potions. They also find a fruit used to cure poison, and then some stamina shrooms, which are good for cooking. Because they were G-ranked adventurers, tasks like herb collecting were common, as were subjugating monsters such as a few goblins. Fran then hears the voices of adventurers in trouble and heads to their location, and finds the adventurers Lily, Krull, and Eustace surrounded by 13 goblins. Arriving at the scene, MC spots that some of the goblins are hobgoblins. Hence, Fran decides to rush in and assist the adventurers and defeats 3 of them with a fire spell. To prevent another unintentional bonfire that Fran created in the forest, MC advises that she use earth magic instead. So both Fran and MC respectively cast Stone Arrow and Stone Bullet against the goblins, taking out a few of them in the first volley. Fran then defeats a couple of the goblins with Double Slash, and MC uses Stone Bullet against one, allowing Fran to level up to 4. She then finishes all of the goblins with MC's Stone Bullet and Heady Slash. Once that was done, Fran approached the adventurers and cast Circle Healing on them, and as her reward, they agree to give the hobgoblin materials to her. When Eustace mentions the appearance of hobgoblins signals a goblin stampede, ignorant Fran and MC learns what it is from the adventurers. After the explanation, a single goblin signals its comrades, and MC takes it out with a stone bullet. With more goblins on the way, Fran has the adventurers return to Alessa, so they can warn them about the upcoming goblin stampede. She then goes and deals with the incoming goblins. In doing so, Fran levels up to 8 after some time. Despite being surrounded and outnumbered by the goblins, she holds MC tight and refuses to give up. With this, we end our video. Stay tuned for the next part and watch our other quality contents. Stay safe. Bye.